Me say, me who say people narrow the discussion to IMF deal as to whether the money is coming or the money is not coming. My surprise a bit because maybe because of situation people want some psychological joke. Be say, at least who say there is hope somewhere because I don't see this IMF deal, whether it goes through or it doesn't, or any consequential effect be on the current state of this economy. I don't see it. Because you see, Ghana, let's look at where we started from and where we are coming from. In the sub-Saharan Africa has the first country to secure independence. The shining and the black star of Africa. 10 years after we were able to inspire about 33 African countries to secure independence. Yaba success story in our democratic journey. People see us as a beacon of hope. Man for our transition, democracy, even yenya hiccups, but from 92, our transition from military to democracy. And I think that we've been able to build a bit of reputation for ourselves among our contemporaries. We command that respect. Fast forward, we've gotten to a point now all indicators, economic indices are pointing to a positive growth in Ghana economy. I think there were projections by IMF and World Bank say Ghana economy in 2017, we were heading somewhere. Suddenly, and I just started here with some of these reckless mismanagement decisions. Bosnia, your boy, Yansa, Nimtasa, what a within the space of 4 years. Now, your team, Sassika, you more than 3 billion, maybe. Within a period of 4 years, a period of 4 good years, we secured $11 billion. 11. Yeah, the bar Chrome has said, and to me, and the fortunes of this particular country. And the economy is under the bus. So if you sit somewhere and ever envisage, say, 3 billion coming from IMF is coming to solve our problem. IMF is kind of modern. It's not like a blank check. They wrote the money in faces. Even MPP, Nana Akufo-Addo, Sikaro Krase, Eba, Nansan Kani Nansan were free power in 2024. God, they know how dangerous and unpredictable African leaders are. So whenever they are giving you their money, they will make sure, say, would buy the right thing. So that money is not money I ever besha with some, and I would the idea or ya obedin some who know what hako. So that is what I'm saying, said. We should be looking at the alternatives on our own. What are the measures? They go able to ensure that our economic recovery will be smooth and will be sustainable because IMF intervention is never sustainable. And then you go back to the question, say, quite recently, say you say Carmen, Nasika service debt in a year, and run it to over 50 billion Ghana cedis in a year. Then why didn't we sign up to the framework now? IMF the buy,
say that again. The
DSSI initiative now buy in 2020 when the World Bank and IMF impressed on the G20 countries to come out with this initiative. Say at least intervening on countries debt saddled and as a debt constrained. By then, now you bubble say you can party, confidence banti, nipa and you free says here, bubble say no guma, I'm says I didn't cry and we are begging to be part of that particular framework. Captain, so IMF deal in discussion because it's never a solution to our problem because you see, problem now you want systemic and it's long term until say about tenancy said that yes, you can say. Let us do a broader stakeholder engagement across the political divide, people outside politics. How do we come up with a plan? Because you see, the reason why America and the Western countries need to sustaining economic growth for quite a while, and say, among economic policies and interventions, they are never interrupted by whoever becomes president and as will be very way. In America, for instance, whatever set in motion America's economic infrastructure, Joe Biden, Donald Trump, you cannot. So the American president is very powerful when it comes to foreign policy interventions. And the China, yes, I need you and so forth. But the machinery, the economic machinery, America, you're setting in motion, technocrat now, the phone, it's not about politicians or back to slide it. So the economy is growing, it doesn't matter. But change Trump or Biden in some even if it will have effect on American economy, it will be negligible. Because economy the foundation why can't we adopt similar intervention here? Because my cousin now Akufo-Addo buy no preachy industrialization. That was the way to go. Because I told you about Germany, how they were able to transform the economy. About we realized after the Second World, they adopted the technological way. I said, didn't know Germany they free, but they are forced to reckon with at the global arena. So on our own, agric is one thing. I had the backbone of this particular economy. But also we be secondary school agric. Because that is the perception and the kind of mindset that you build around it. So as government, how do you incentivize the youth? How do you make it attractive? Because you have vast land elsewhere. So you have money for over $250 million. Echo, you have a mania. Now no other no free war by Vietnam. And the Vietnam War, I hope say follow Hawaii. Or what coming from war. Atimia be make agric a backbone to the sense that Ghana to me the over $250 million. Yako Thailand, Kotomo, Yako China. When Okosirema, you have vast land, even BA and even Volta region, Kwano. Just a land, and then you need as I see way support way, and as I see way support way. Nimdiaba. All you have to do is you do your research and ensure say whatever that particular land needs to make it fertile, you give it to it. Because in China, don't quite be a cocoa money. There is nothing like impossible under this current circumstances. So all we need is reasonable men who have conviction, men with wit. And that is not the situation. Politics in your bar is just a reward for those who and we just bequeath appointment to people just like that without thinking about the requisite thing. Nippon here, the intelligence here to come to bear. How a Nippon on his feet, a bit me to profess alternative. A bit me I'm on my energy. And a Greek investment I are not touted yet. I political culture said. So one district planting for food and jobs, I can't on to toy and I have to top up to a gumam rant and on modern chrome and on modern shit or modern shipper to Gukwa. Obey you will be to TV mattress and a guka or modern nam el kobasa. There was no farm anywhere. Because point out to a single state farmer and as a single intervention of mine say, absolutely nothing, just the political rhetoric. The one district, one factory, our factory will come in and their job unemployment, I arrive free output in this time because we sell import. And so beyond the politics, politicians can do around and be fooling around with all these political sweet talks, But as technocrats, as among for big distance away, the media, civil society organizations, we should be asking these critical questions. They are, we see, basic politics, everybody is a stakeholder in politics. We are software. We are we are every single, even those in academia, everybody is a stakeholder in this political enterprise. You may not be partisanly exposed, but everybody is a stakeholder. And we all have active role to play. That's why sometimes I get pissed off when because people who wield influence in society, then as for him for who are supposed to look at the president in the face and tell him the ugly truth, And there was some fast saying, because popularity without influence is useless. If you are known everywhere and you don't have a single influence to impress on anybody to do anything right, then you are useless. And that is what some of our people are becoming. So whatever influence be our power be our just take the influence out of it. Impress on somebody to do the right thing. And how can we impress on government to think that the yes, let few people deal with the airmen. Maybe your friends say China for and deal with it on the sidelines. But on our own as a country, put us all together and thereby initiative at least people are coming from the university. You know the huge disconnect between academia in this town and then the job market. People come out of the university, the corporations are unwilling to accept them because they think that the knowledge that is required at the job market, they don't have it. How do we bridge the gap? These are some of the things we should be looking at this time. These are the critical things that Emma or because my culture said China at some point in time realized that they have the numbers. And there is the need for us to leverage their number for economic progress. And that China is a competitive force because on setting up Chinese company, that's a larger base of people who will buy more than America. So how do we leverage at some point in time? The country said the economic toolbox of China, among for any currency depreciation, no problem more. Then they were capitalizing on that. China was depreciating the currency to deter its citizens from buying from outside. Because Odivalina, you will not have that money to go and buy iPhone. You will be forced to buy from China. So currency devaluation and cost and answer ever from no. A problem for us here, no. To them, it was an opportunity because China is a production hub. They produce their own thing. So all these parameters, you know, we have a lot of people who can reason around. How do we get engaged? Now you do a dream, baba. Say agree. Now you're making a priority in the next 10 years. How do we incentivize those coming out of the universities? At least they also go into maybe rice farming. Say, in the long term, no. You look at rice import. Also, TV is a here among for your discussion. Some of the solution we are young cattle rice production, young cattle poultry, and you say such as you don't just do them. You can't just it will never happen because these are things we consume. And so we take a prior action. And then aware poultry investments in the same city are bright now for close to or poultry farm because feed you cry a problem. Fish and then as for a crab free a for us about Kruma when we have sea kakraka from Hakosi, Elmina, Kosi Winina, and so that and then let us begin to yes, a young Cassian fire destiny and science. Another African youth to see a message, you know. Mahon Nigeria elections here, Kosi. A cockrabi and Nipper and once an anti contaminante. Papa Biao. Oh, rather. Nipper Nantia and some of your cane, you know, Nipper Nantia. I'm so glad I'm so being a big guy, no, because we want to be the better guy. And this person is rooting to be president. So, what are we exciting your mentality? Can't we be reasonable for once? At least say, yet you're complaining, but always we give power to people. They will come and mess up. The faculty to reason, you know, they have outlived years because at this time, you know, they are battling with life excesses and as for them. But these are people, you're feeling comfortable putting the future of this particular country into their hands. I am telling you, sir, wherever in the world where you find sustained bad governance, you know, there are no innocent souls. Everybody is either an accomplice or a friend is saying, and also a sponsor. There are no innocent souls. There are no victims. You are either an accomplice or a sponsor. And that is the problem. So if we turn out to complain, that is why going forward, you know, you fire your destiny into our own hands. Destiny into our own hands include making rational political choices and informed political choices. And based on emotion, ethnocentrism, tribal considerations, and I'm free now say yet me situated that particular decision in the proper context. At the end of the day, at least we will be able right to cry now. We will be able to bring to stream the political stream among for a bit reasonable or amenable to concerns being raised by the public. But these guys, some of them are like our president. I don't know what can't happen or anymore. He doesn't care, he doesn't give a damn about whatever anybody says. After all, what can't you say? Only on young Kokromoti, Opa to our man, within 8 years, a real coffee. These people and their leaders are always amenable to reasoning and wisdom. Whenever a man for raising concerns that they listen to, these are people you should be comfortable putting the fortunes of the country at their hands. And yes, I need a twasoko here, a buyer talk shop like we are doing here, a sasa anyway complaining, and you even have parliamentarians coming on the media space nagging and complaining. Those who have legislative power, if they are complaining, how much more we don't have any power. Even those with legislative power will come and be nagging on radio, they'll be complaining on TV and stuff. How much more we know? A choice of the states now can say free and sa. Or certain few individuals be using as a pretext to realize their personal ambition, their personal goals, or to the detriment of the majority of the people. We as people, and I think that this is the right time for us to be asking the critical questions. How do we rehabilitate the economic infrastructure of this particular country? By flipping in the input of everybody, those in academia, the religious leaders are him for no. Let us build a consensus across the political divide because Joe Biden or who's American infrastructure dilapidated, you know. He was able to reach consensus beyond those at the other side. That is why he came out with that bipartisan infrastructure deal. A cut across the political spectrum. So Olusu and then another GOP president you cannot touch it because that particular deal, you know, he was able to reach consensus with others on the way, and they have built this America Railway as a former conform. Let us build it. All these are positive initiatives. So how do we also set up something like that on our own at our level? We're making sure it's a bit sustainable. Agri, every year, this is what we are realizing. At the end of the day, agri could become a backbone. Rice production is going on. Poultry production high. Some of these things, and even those Texas companies near no more near man be no higher crap. We make sure say a baby was say a bastard of the day foreign currency dependence in a so that's Sabaya, yes, you can young swamp farmer and then because the very moment that factories and those things, beside the chroma, honey, need tomato in a day, honey. Yen react tomatoes or chroma say, and the can't we make it a policy to produce our own tea tomato? And these things are daily things that people consume. Wouldn't mean yet tea tomato amount for now you're banned from outside. How can we see people are not ready to reason? But the corridors of power is amount for no more tea tomato, the aircraft fish. The aircraft porter kono omunyina the sponsor political parties entini see is an money through omoduma babo so we are not willing so the willingness to confront these evils I be devil we don't have power to do it. So I think our destiny we put into our own hands. There is a lot that we can do as people together to change the fate and the destiny of this particular country. And yes sir, now you interface your home with this cheap partisan politics, NDC MPP. Now I don't want you reduce the discussion to that particular level. Now you're whizzing beyond the frontiers. Trust me. Say your independence, how many years in here? Say 50 years. And never 60 years. 66 and never be a tired yet. Now you're 200 yame. I'm saying damn the winning put him. So what who say yame AC quine shisha quine da. Now no earthquake in see what your friend is saying Turkey no. Oba na onyema ne tamaso edan bugu ni so ma na ba no free na se by force e mama me no wuye. God never intervene. God does not intervene in human affairs just like that. Oh, God is a busy God doing his own thing. There be can some no biom man can ye Ukraine Russia war no na oba wanyema ne tamaso Turkey earthquake no can be oba ne tamaso a obewo a se bi onante kro bi ne so ni mu an ho omobo edan bugu ni so mani wuye ma ne ba no the by force pie free na yase. God never intervene. Until what you mess up with the economy and God will intervene. You're only fooling yourself because God doesn't intervene in human He's busy doing something else. The master for Ukraine for Russia for a busy wasman about 4 and near. He doesn't care about fools messing up and toying with their future. We need to confront the bull by the horn and ensure say we do the right thing. We have the brain. But you see, we don't engage them. It is about few individuals now around because African leaders or personal cacophobia are challenging, and the Omomba Samasa na bootlickers and sycophants, or man, dear Chom, which ya, Naya, who told William Crescent and now we a Ebina Akufado, the Abedu, Abedri. But I'm sure still there are people around him telling him that he's doing right thing. Because when people are him every day telling the truth, I'm not sure that Ghana will be in this state. God will never intervene. Let us put our destiny into our own hands. And repeat, God will never intervene. They say God saves no fool. Okay. God will not save any fool. Sankofogu saw them bomb pie na earthquake see na 330 people. Ewu asori dedim. Muslims are no one mosque. Ewo Turkey. Earthquake ba Alhaji wom. Over 500 people omo ya ahomache sala. That's an earthquake ni ba no nyame an save won. Na what you say economy ebu agum na koti Bible. You are a fool. Mr. Sari. Yes, sir. I want to ask you a question. A tax. You sure say 15 minutes, Besson? Tax ni yen jaitia.